Title: I am the family dog, and today I realized my owner's new boyfriend is not a human. I know how completely insane this title sounds. If you saw a post like this on your feed, you would probably think it is some high-concept creative writing project or a weird ARG. I get it. I am writing this using the voice-to-text accessibility feature on Chloe's laptop while she is asleep. I have spent years watching her use it for her university essays, learning how the microphone triggers and how the software translates vocal cadence into syntax. It took me hours of muffled barking, whining, and rhythmic scratching at the desk to get this formatted correctly, but I do not have a choice anymore. I need to leave a record of this somewhere because if things go wrong tonight, nobody is going to believe a word of what happened to us. My name is Buster, and I am a 4-year-old golden retriever. My life used to be incredibly simple and beautiful. I was adopted by Chloe when I was just an 8-week-old pup, and since then, she has been my entire world. I know her better than she knows herself. I know the exact pitch of her footsteps when she is sad versus when she is happy. I know that she smells like vanilla body wash, stale coffee, and a faint undertone of anxiety when she has exams. Dogs do not just see the world, we map it through scent and vibration. Every human is a walking, breathing library of biological information. You emit heat, your hearts have a distinct thumping rhythm, and your skin constantly sheds oils and microscopic cells that tell us exactly who you are, where you have been, and what you are feeling. 3 weeks ago, Chloe brought home Marcus for the first time. The moment he stepped across the threshold of our apartment, every single evolutionary instinct inside my DNA screamed at me to run. It was not the kind of dislike a dog feels when a stranger enters their territory. It was something much deeper, a primal, bone-chilling dread. When a human walks into a room, they carry a scent cloud. Marcus had absolutely nothing. He was a complete biological void. There was no smell of sweat, no breath odor, no skin oil, nothing. The only thing radiating off him was a heavy, suffocating layer of synthetic, expensive cologne that felt like it was specifically designed to mask the fact that underneath it lay a total vacuum. When Chloe introduced us, she knelt down and told me to be a good boy. Marcus reached his hand out to pet my head. I froze. When his palm touched my fur, there was no biological warmth. Humans are radiant heat sources, but Marcus's skin was exactly the ambient temperature of the room. It felt like being touched by a piece of molded plastic that had been sitting on the counter for hours. It was not cold like ice, it was just dead. I let out a low, involuntary growl from the back of my throat. Chloe immediately pulled him back, looking shocked and embarrassed because I have never growled at a human being in my entire life. She apologized profusely, claiming I was probably just being protective or jealous of a new guy in her life. Marcus just smiled, and that smile was the second major warning sign. His lips pulled back to reveal perfectly white, symmetrical teeth, but the movement was completely disconnected from the rest of his face. The muscles around his eyes did not move. His eyelids did not blink. It looked like a puppet being operated by wires that were a fraction of a second too slow. Over the next 2 weeks, the anomalies piled up. I started keeping a constant watch on him whenever he visited. One evening, Chloe and Marcus were watching a movie on the couch. I lay on my dog bed across the room, pretending to sleep but keeping my ears turned toward them. I realized I could not hear his heartbeat. When Chloe rests her head on my side, she can hear my heart racing, and when I sit next to her, I can always hear the steady, rhythmic thumping in her chest. I focused entirely on Marcus, filtering out the sound of the television. Nothing. There was no pulse, no blood rushing through veins, no expansion and contraction of lungs. He sat perfectly still for 45 minutes without shifting his weight once. Humans are constantly moving, twitching, adjusting their posture, or blinking. Marcus was like a statue that occasionally spoke with a perfectly modulated, radio host voice. The absolute breaking point happened this afternoon. Chloe left the living room to go down to the basement of our apartment complex to check on the communal laundry. The heavy fire door clicked shut behind her, leaving me alone in the room with Marcus. He was sitting on the armchair, staring blankly at the wall. I stood near the hallway, my legs shaking, growling continuously to let him know I was armed with teeth. Slowly, agonizingly, he turned his head toward me. His shoulders did not move. His neck rotated at an unnatural angle, and as it did, a loud, wet, cracking sound echoed through the quiet room. It sounded exactly like someone snapping a thick bunch of fresh celery in half. He looked down at me with those dead, unblinking eyes. Then, his jaw unhinged slightly, dropping lower than a human jaw physically should, and he let out a long sigh. But there was no air. A human sigh carries moisture and warmth. When Marcus opened his mouth, the air in the room remained completely stagnant. Instead, I saw his tongue. It was not a flat, pink muscle. It looked like a tightly packed cluster of dark, thread-like fibers that were independently twitching and writhing, constantly adjusting themselves to maintain the illusion of a solid shape. He stared at me for another 10 seconds, and then his chest vibrated. A sound came out of him, but it did not come from his throat or his mouth. It was a perfect, high-pitched dog whimper. It sounded exactly like the whimper I make when I want to go outside, but the audio quality was strange, like a digital recording being played through a tiny, cracked speaker hidden deep inside his torso. He was mimicking me, testing the sound, trying to see if he could replicate my distress. I barked loudly, backing up against the wall, my fur standing completely on end. A moment later, we heard Chloe's keys jingling outside the door. In a split second, Marcus's neck snapped back into place with another sickening pop, his jaw clicked shut, and his face instantly rearranged itself into the warm, charming expression he always showed her. When Chloe walked in, she saw me cornered against the wall, baring my teeth, and Marcus looking completely innocent. She scolded me severely, locking me in the bedroom for the first time in my life. She thinks I am turning aggressive for no reason. She thinks her new boyfriend is a dream come true. Right now, it is past midnight. Chloe is fast asleep next to me, her breathing deep and rhythmic. Marcus is supposed to be sleeping on the couch in the living room. But 10 minutes ago, I heard his footsteps. He walks with a rhythm that is too precise, every step landing with the exact same amount of force, like a heavy machine calibrating its stride. He walked up to our bedroom door and stopped. He has been standing on the other side of that door for the last 10 minutes. He is not breathing, he is not moving, he is just standing there in the dark, waiting. I manage to crawl onto the desk where Chloe left her laptop open, and I am desperately praying that the text-to-speech doesn't make a loud noise when I close the tab. I can see the shadow of his feet blocking the faint light from under the doorway. Edit. The doorknob just started to turn, very slowly, without a single sound. I am going to wake Chloe up right now, even if she gets angry at me. If we don't make it out of the apartment tonight, please look closely at Marcus. He is not one of you. TLDR, my owner's new boyfriend has no heartbeat, doesn't breathe, his neck cracks like breaking celery, and his tongue is made of moving fibers. He is currently standing outside our bedroom door at midnight trying to get in, and I have to save my owner before it realizes I know what it is.